JBL and Google finally brought their collaboration, the Link Bar, to market after a little more than a year. Super eager to dive into it. I have the first look from this week's All About Android up next.
This is Twit.
This episode of Hands on Tech is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your online identity today and find out how you can get 3 months free with a 1-year package at expressvpn.com/hot. This is the JBL Link Bar. The JBL Link Bar is, if you remember, back at Google I/O 2018,
yes.
It was first announced on stage. Everybody freaked out about it because it was the first premium soundbar with Assistant and Android TV baked into it. It was a collaboration of JBL and Google. And then it was delayed for more than a year. And everybody's like, well, you made such a big deal of this on stage. Like, why don't we have it yet? We want to see it. We want to see it. Well, it's finally available for sale. And we have it right here. This is just a first look because I have not had any time to really poke through it. So I'm definitely going to give a full review. But just to give you a sense of the soundbar itself, and I'll pull it up for a close-up here in a second. 2.8-inch tweeters, 4 1.7-inch, and by 3.2-inch full-range speakers all the way around. It's got these little bass ports on the side. 100 watts of maximum power. Has only this. I feel like this is really small. 4 gigs of onboard storage for an Android TV device. If you're going to be installing apps.
Does it have Does it have a regular USB port or like a micro SD slot?
It does not. So
really?
Well,
so it has
where do you put the ROMs?
It has a
that
US.
Seems kind of crazy.
It is really crazy. It has a USB-C port that's labeled service. I'm pretty certain that's not going to give you any file access through there. I will certainly try that out. But no, there's no micro SD card slot, no USB port for expandable storage. So 4 gigs of onboard storage is what you get. Right out of the box.
you could technically, I guess, mount network storage in Android TV.
That's
but
true.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
But the latency on that is going to be unpredictable, and that's not a.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got it like wired to a gigabit switch, then you'll be fine. But otherwise, I don't know if you want to rely on that.
So this is not for a person who has a really intricate media setup at home.
Well, I mean, maybe you have like a server, like a Plex server, or a media center server going on in another room. In which case, you would install the app on here, and that would work fine.
ROMs?
Well, I don't think this is
specifically
like that, though. Yeah, I don't think this is.
I mean, I guess this is like the mass market Android TV device, right? It's like if you care about ROMs on your TV, you're probably going to buy a Shield.
Yeah,
I bought a Mi Box because.
How'd that work out for you?
Yeah.
It's still working?
Yeah, the remote started working again. I just prayed to God and it worked.
So this has 3 4K HDMI inputs, 1 4K HDMI ARC output.
Okay.
Chromecast is built in. It supports Bluetooth 4.2 with a Bluetooth button on the top, as well as the remote, which I'll show in a second. So you can use it
as just a casting device as part of a home group?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So basically think of this as like a Soundbar Google Home with Android TV built into it. Soundbar kind of version of Google
Does
Home.
it come with a woofer?
Woofer is an optional add-on. So it's a 10-inch 300-watt subwoofer. It's the JBL SW10 is available. It's designed specifically to be paired with the JBL Link Bar. That is $299. This soundbar itself is $399.
Wow.
Yikes. You know what's cheaper than this? Almost any 2.1 soundbar and a Shield TV.
Yeah.
I bought
cheaper.
I bought the Polk Magnify series, and it came with a subwoofer, and it also has Google Casting, and that cost me $320 after tax and buying a warranty for it.
Yeah.
And I'm incredibly happy with my purchase. It's a wonderful soundbar. I had hoped to buy this.
Yeah, you were kind of waiting
hoping
for it,
but
right?
I already have a Mi Box, and I really wanted to just get a soundbar in my house.
Yeah.
So I decided to go for sound first instead of something that integrated it all.
We had a little bit of audio running through earlier when we were kind of setting it up. We can't pass through the video feed. We had an issue with the video being compatible with our TriCaster. So this is, like I said, this is really just a first look ahead of a full review. And the sound sounded pretty good, but it's lacking without a subwoofer. There's not a whole lot of low end.
The big thing for me is the subwoofer, because I feel like when you have this in the living room and
I can get all swallowed up.
Come on, you're watching Stranger Things. You need that boom, 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 in the beginning of the.
You feel like your guts are rattling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hear you.
And to pay an extra $300 for that for me is just wow.
Yeah, you got to be a JBL super fan. This episode of Hands on Tech is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Stealing data from unsuspecting people on public Wi-Fi is one of the simplest and cheapest ways for hackers to make money. Costs less than $7 per month and comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Their apps use powerful encryption to secure your data. You just download the app, click to connect, and you're protected. So protect your online activity today and find out how you can get 3 extra months free with a 1-year package at expressvpn.com/hot. That's expressvpn.com/hot. expressvpn.com/hot.
So we've had our review unit for like a week. Steven Schenk is working on our review. So I asked him what he thinks of it so far, and he said should probably be a bit cheaper, but it's not garbage. So
okay.
really,
they
speaks highly of it.
They should print that on the box.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the mid-range version of these things work just as darn well as the $700 high-end versions.
Yeah. I mean, this doesn't have a cheaper version. This specific model doesn't have a cheaper version, but there are plenty of other.
What was the sound you said that this was? It's not 2.1.
Well, I mean, basically, when you have a subwoofer with no satellite speakers in the rear, and then you've got this, that's what? That's a 2.1 or 3.1 because you've got the center channel, right?
So it's still 2.1.
And then the subwoofer.
3.1, right?
3.1, yeah. There is a switch on the top so you can mute the far field mics. So that's nice. It's a hardware switch. And really, like I said, its differentiator is that it's a Google Home soundbar, essentially, with Android TV integrated. So if you use voice commands like, hey G, play Stranger Things on Netflix, it will open Netflix on your Android TV and launch the episode. It can also operate your TV, like turn it on from nothing. So it doesn't require your TV to be on in order to be operating. When the TV is off, it is essentially a Google Home. And it's always, listening for the wake command. You could say turn on the TV and it would do that. That sort of stuff. And
then you would switch the HDMI on the remote?
You could switch the source with your voice. You could do that with a remote. I do have the remote here. It does ship with a remote as well, which is, whatever. It's a remote. Has a Netflix button on it.
Of course, it's got a Netflix button.
The assistant button and everything. So I'm very curious to put it through its paces and see how it is. I mean, from a build quality standpoint, everything seems pretty nice.
JBL,
like I said, the sound is pretty good from my very brief time with it as we were unboxing it, getting it all set up. So I'm looking forward to putting it in my living room and seeing how it goes.
I'm completely intrigued by this because, I'm at home. We have a TV with Chromecast, and I just bought a cheap little Vizio soundbar, because unlike Flo, I don't have the greatest home entertainment system right now because we're in a 1-bedroom apartment with babies. But there is frustration with the other half of my household that isn't as power usery as myself and gets frustrated with Chromecast. And I got to say, the Android TV option of having a remote and pulling up a UI is really, I think, admittedly, I agree, Shield all the way. The NVIDIA Shield is the second entry in the Android Hall of Fame. Let's not forget. But having this soundbar and just plugging it in and being able to access Android TV and have a UI that also works with Chromecast, but then can run those apps and have Assistant built in and have a visual representation of Assistant, I think could be a game changer if it got into enough households and got into enough of that mainstream, just kind of average user to really kind of change their home theater experience. Time will tell if the price works and if it, without this, because the problem is that if you care about sound and you like the sound of a subwoofer, that price just kills it.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money for a soundbar setup.
Yeah. It is.
For sure.
Considering what I just purchased from a rival brand. So I'm like...
Right. Yeah, well, good alternatives. I have a Vizio set up at home, and it's got the satellite subwoofer with 2 rear speakers as well. So I mean, and it was like half the cost of what this is with the subwoofer. So,
and that's the thing, you can just go to the store and you just choose your assistant now. Is it Amazon or is it Google? What do you want? And then choose the model.
Yeah. But having everything integrated into one base like this could either be the greatest thing in the world or it could be the biggest downfall, because as we've seen with smart TVs, many things are integrated into our smart TVs, and that can actually be a big disadvantage. Things just don't operate as well as they could. Things fall out of date. They don't get updated.
Remote's not working.
Yeah. I will say we talked about this a couple of weeks when Patrick Norton was on the show, and I said the best advice Patrick gave me, geez, like 10 years ago back at Revision 3, was don't buy a TV with crap on it. Just buy a dumb monitor and plug boxes into it.
Really hard to do now.
Now you can't. Now, and I made the mistake of buying a Vizio that had Chromecast built in, because I was like, oh, great, I'll minimize a dongle. And Vizio hasn't updated it for 3 years now.
Oh, no.
Right, yeah. So I actually
have
have
one
it.
Of those.
Yeah, right. The SmartCasts.
But I knew going in that it was going to be not updated and bad, so I just bought a Chromecast Ultra like at the same time.
I did the same thing. Yeah. So now I'm using an HDMI port that has a dongle, and because it's a smaller TV and one HDMI port's going to my computer and there's only one other one.
Yeah.
Until Amazon finally relented and put Chromecast on the Prime Video app, every time I'd want to watch Amazon, I'd have to unplug the Chromecast and plug in my DVD player.
No way to live.
And then use the Amazon app. Oh, it was awful.
Yeah.
So just buy a dumb monitor, buy the dumbest monitor you can that looks the best, and plug crap into it. That's the way to go.
Yeah. So review forthcoming of the JBL Link Bar. Definitely looking forward to putting it through its paces, and that will be in the near future.
Keep up with all the hottest tech news and gadgets. Visit twit.tv. There you'll be able to find and subscribe to all our tech shows. Thanks for watching Hands on Tech.